Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Adita Karkera, Chief Data Officer for Deloitte's Government and Public Services. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Ken Pfeil, Chief Data Officer for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Adita. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with everybody here.
And especially with your background, both in the private sector and the commercial side, and now in the public sector, you've done this similar work in both sides, right? And as you reflect on those, what in your mind are some major differences in the kind of obstacles and the kind of challenges that you faced um, in terms of data modernization or in terms of any of your day-to-day data operations? What are some of the stark differences that you might want to point out for us?
Well, I think the private sector is much more mature from the data side of the house and things. But the lessons that I brought over, or the lessons that I learned in the private sector that are applicable here is um, people are generally resistant to change. And don't try and throw a whole bunch of stuff in the water that you think oh, this worked in the private sector, I'm going to do X Y Z. People are very resistant to change for a number and a variety of reasons, and you got to try and work with them and understand why. That's why I've been talking to my peers like all across the country, and one thing that resonates across pretty much everywhere is the siloization of data. Right, one agency will hold on to their data like it's like it's their precious ring. Right, it's my precious. No, you can't have it. But they don't fully understand how application of that data used with other data is going to make an outcome and make somebody's life better. And it's
Yeah.
being able to draw those parallels and draw those corollaries across that to where they both understand that's where you really start to hit pay dirt. And it takes a lot of relationship building. It takes a lot of effort. And to me, that's kind of one of the fun parts of the job.
That's true. And it really is a very delicate balance, right? Between, data sharing and making sure that the data that you're actually sharing is used for the right purposes and to get the right insights so that we can create better citizen services, right? But as you continue to work with multiple agencies, Ken, I'm sure there are challenges around data sharing and data governance.
Mhm.
And I know you mentioned briefly data trust, I think is what you said. And I'm
Right.
curious, is data trust what I'm thinking in my mind? A method to get the agencies together and help with data governance and data sharing? Or would you want to
Absolutely.
elaborate on that some?
Absolutely. And we invite, all of our state agencies. We have oversight over the executive branch state agencies, and they've been phenomenal at providing information for the common good. So we've got, I guess, two major moving parts to this, right? We have the Commonwealth Data Trust, which is what we set up. And that's generally for agency to agency sharing or locality to locality sharing.
Mhm.
We have a universal entity index that we've built of 8.7 million Virginians, so that PII is stripped out and not cross shared. We do assign a global unique identifier to each Virginian that allows the anonymization, but you can reach an outcome based on that without having to know who that person is. So we keep everything totally secure and private on that side of the house. We also on the Commonwealth Data Trust side of the house, we also have a common MOU where I am the trustee. So I think right now it is in paper, and we use DocuSign and all of that good stuff. It was created by the Office of the Attorney General with input from all of the other Attorney General attorneys that are assigned to certain agencies and such. I think we're whittling that down to make it a little bit more simple. Right now, it's 27 pages. And the reason it's 27 pages is we decided early on that we were going to list the first 22 pages as what our obligations are to each agency to keep data private, to keep it secure, classifications and roles, and how this all intertwines with the other governance of the three boards that I'd mentioned earlier. So that, and we're working on that as well. We kicked off a data trust automation project within my agency. And so right now, just with the common MOU, we saved roughly 6 days of attorneys time and turnaround, and we no longer have point to point to point to point to point to point MOUs. This one's got to sign this one, add this, and that one's got to sign that one, add that. It all comes together, and I'm the trustee, and I agree between 2, 3 parties. We have 3 of our healthcare agencies are doing 3-way data sharing right now as a result of that. And so we don't mandate that they share any specific type of information, because we understand that there are certain agreements that they have to abide with, or there are certain laws that they can only share for a certain purpose, and we let the agencies decide that. But we do facilitate the data transfer of those from one agency to another agency and make that life a whole lot easier. In the future, with the data trust automation project that we've undergone, we're going to turn what is now approximately a 1 or 2 day process. And let's say if someone wants to change the data that they want to share, or they want to share with another agency, we're still in paper format. We're automating all of that so that they can just go into our system and say, okay, click, drop down. This is the type, this is the sensitivity of the data. This is who I want to share it with. And then that other person will get the counter to that. And they go into the system, they countersign, and then boom, it's done within 10 minutes rather than 1 or 2 days. So, and then the other side of the house that I wanted to talk to is our open data portal, data.virginia.gov. We've set that up for transparency purposes per Virginia code. So there are a lot of things that are federated even from localities through there. And localities will federate their public data to another locality through us, and vice versa. We get data from various different police departments. Everyone from Roanoke to Virginia Beach. And then we have, like I said, a lot of locality partners. I have 103 localities. I've visited over the last year and a half, I think 8 localities just personally, and, to kind of understand what their goals and objectives are. And then we have a lot that are really good partners, like Norfolk and Virginia Beach. I was a judge at Norfolk's datathon that they put on like 2 years in a row. And so we have a great relationship with the communities, and we like to keep it that way.
Ken, that is fascinating. I know my attention just like stopped when you said your automation process could take all of these MOUs, and the data sharing process could possibly go from 1 to 2 days to 10 minutes. And
Right.
that's almost unbelievable in the government space, right? So kudos to you and your team for what you're
Thank you.
driving and the change that you're impacting there. But I'm fascinated at the concept of the data trust and how you're managing, data sharing agreements and those MOUs, because as I talk to other CDOs across the state, seems like that continues to be an ever growing problem and a
Mhm.
challenge. How do
Yeah.
you come?
Mhm.
Yeah, how do you come on a consensus on what terms to sign off for, or do you continue to add addendums for different data sharing requirements and such? So
Yeah. And that's exactly the point of automating it, so that we're not adding addendum after addendum after addendum, or modifying the same paper form. You can add an
yeah.
addendum to it and then say, okay, well, this has changed since that. And then we have revision history, and we have logging and accountability and authorization, authentication, all of that good stuff on it. So
Well, Ken, I know you're extremely busy, and I can't say enough about how much I appreciate your time and talking with us today. So thank you so much, and hope to continue to talk to you in later in the year.
absolutely. And thank you guys for the opportunity to kind of express some of my views.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. And for everyone else in the audience, please continue to stay tuned and look out for further interviews with government sector leaders. Thank you.